Welcome to Together Unprocessed, where 5 friends from across the world share real conversations about food, healing, and life. Let's get started. Good morning, everyone. We already had our hellos and hugs and everything else, and soon our good nights. Let's just quickly go around and just give our viewers a top off of where we are, what time it is, and what the weather's like. And I'll start because this is crazy. I'm in Ontario, Canada, and we're at minus 30 degrees Celsius right now. And I'm Kim. It's very cold here.
Did you say minus 30?
Minus 30, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
my
but
God.
the wind chill is pushing up to minus 40. Crazy.
Wow.
I've never seen the dogs pee so fast in my life.
Does it freeze while they're peeing?
No, but it probably could if it was long enough. Everything's cracking. The deck is cracking. The trees are cracking like crazy because it's just so cold because of moisture in them as well, right? I thought one was going to fall on me. It scared me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So go ahead, Olivia.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I am in the UK. We are nowhere near that level of winter. I had a plunge today and it was just naturally 8 centigrade. So I think we've gone past our coldest point because it did go down to freezing a couple of weeks ago, but now it's back up to 8. So I think hopefully that means we're headed to spring.
Awesome.
And it's just gone midday here. How about you, Hugo?
Yeah, I'm in Tallinn, Estonia. It's 11 degrees right now, I think. But we had days where it was minus 20. But since I'm near the coast, it's not that cold. But if you go inland, it can get up to minus 30. Or even on the coldest days, it can even be minus 40. Each winter we have that low point anyway. So, yeah.
I didn't even know that about Estonia. I thought you were like more of the warmer climate side of the house.
No, we're not blessed with the warmer climate.
That's crazy.
It's even worse in Finland, if you go north. You have to go inland. Like central and north Finland, those are even worse. But Estonia gets the brunt of it too.
Wow. Go ahead, Ash.
I am Ashley. I am in Tasmania, Australia. It is 11:20 p.m. and we are having summer at the moment, although in Tasmania we have very different weather to the rest of Australia. It's not that we have hot days and we also have cold days, so you never know what you're getting, and at the moment it's 14 degrees. So it's
suntan weather.
In a cooler day today, but also warm at the same time.
Love it.
That's kind of pleasant.
Yeah, 14 degrees is nice. I can handle that. That's awesome. All right. So thank you. And so today's topic is I think is a great topic because most people are not even aware. And it's about the reality of toxic living. And one of the reasons why, when we were discussing it, why we want to talk about this is just that a lot of people don't realize how much toxic lingers around them. And this, what we're talking about today, it's not meant to scare anyone or anything. It's just about bringing awareness so that you can make better decisions on what you're buying or what you're doing, using in your household and stuff like that. And that's what it's all about, is just awareness. So one of the first things we'll talk about is environmental toxins. And this one, everybody pretty much knows about air pollution. That's, when you talk to anybody, they'll talk about, oh yeah, air pollution. And they talk about like the VOCs and some of the smokestacks that are out there. Like we have a couple provinces here in Canada that are like really bad. Like we have a nickel plant and the toxins that come out of those stacks is unbelievable. They call it acid rain. You can look it up. It is a thing. And water contamination. This is another one that people are aware of, but I don't think to the depth that they should be. And there was a study done. It was quite a while ago. I'd have to look it up, and we'll link it below. there was a study that after the water was filtered through city plants, they were still finding traces of pharmaceuticals because people would flush them down the toilet. And of course, as they're trying to change over the water to be clean and stuff for us to use, even in gray water, there were still many traces there. So that's another one. Pesticides, herbicides, everybody knows about that. It's like, let's get organic, let's do this, let's do that. There's lots. Wash your food, people. Except for your steak, just cook it. And the last, and this I'm going to turn over to Ashley because she knows quite a bit about it and she's had her own experiences. And last is radiation and EMF, especially with their Wi-Fi. And now we have 5G. And it's not only us it affects, it's our animals. So we're going to start there. And I am going to turn this over to Ashley. She's going to talk about EMFs and about household toxins. So all yours, Ash.
Thank you. Now, I'll just touch on EMFs because I think that's probably a topic that we could do a whole episode on itself. So you have spoken about just the radiation and sort of EMFs being Wi-Fi and 5G, and that's probably up until about 2 years ago what I thought it was about as well. But I didn't realize the depth that it actually goes to. And electromagnetic, there are three types of electromagnetic energy. And there's one which is the field energy. That's the radiation and stuff that you're getting off your power. That's your normal power, like when you turn on your AC powers, your light switches and all of that. That's just your general power, your field energy. You're getting your signal energy, which is the Wi-Fi, which is the mobile and everything. But then there's one that isn't really spoken about a lot, which is the noise energy. And that is the one that is the most dangerous of all. That is the one that is the byproduct or the unwanted radiation that is emitted from your field energy and from your signal energy. That's the one which runs between your 30 megahertz and your 300, and it's the one that actually penetrates your body. So that's the most dangerous, and that's what we don't talk about. That's if you know about the resonance effect, where you have the same energy and it makes the ball move, that's the same sort of thing. So our brains and our hearts, and they're all running at a certain megahertz level, and when you've got these invisible energies coming off everything, they're going straight in. So it's even when you turn off your phone and everything, and you're not getting that data signal, you're still getting some of that noise radiation that's still penetrating you, and it's everywhere. It's from your microwaves, from the lights that are in the thing, from sitting in your car. So if you're sitting in your car, especially all these new electronic ones, it's all getting absorbed straight into your body unless you are breaking that chain. You can't get away from it. It's got to be around you all the time, but you almost need to harmonize it, and that's why I do have a harmonizer which breaks that so that it's not getting absorbed into my body. Especially, when you're using headphones, all these new Wi-Fi things, the watches, all these, they're all on you. I often used to sit with my laptop on my lap, and I used to get like tingles and pins and needles in my legs. And that is actually in the body where your cells are starting to stick together, and it's the damage that's being caused from all this electromagnetic noise radiation coming from all these products. I have had radiation to my head. I had skin cancer, and I had to undergo 6 weeks of radiation. So after it was cut out, and I still have lingering effects when I'm around electronics too much. It's why if I want to wear my smartwatch, I only wear it for a couple of hours. I don't wear the Wi-Fi. I wear wired stuff. I use a wired mouse. I try not to use too many Wi-Fi things because my head starts getting bombarded. And it wasn't until I got my harmonizer that it then started changing things. So that runs in my house the whole time. It's got a radio, a 8-meter diameter, and it's, at least I know that I'm being protected. I take it when I go out, it's in the car, all that sort of stuff as well. So that's just, I know it was a bit long-winded, but we can get more into that. But that's just sort of to touch in it, just to make people aware that it's not just the 5G and the Wi-Fi that we need to be worried about, or concerned about. It's in so many more things. And it's out there.
So Ash, what is noise radiation exactly? Like, where does it come from?
So noise radiation is the byproduct of your field energy, which is the normal power that when something is emitted, like when you're turning on your lights and the light switches and all of that, as well as the byproduct of signal. So it's all producing a radiation in it. So those in itself, you've got a light switch, and that's emitting its own power. I'm just going to hold 2 seconds. So it's the radio waves. So you're getting so the sources of electromagnetic noise radiation are from your sockets, from electrical cables, air conditioning, your microwaves, Wi-Fi, phones, tablets, computers. All those things are emitting that as well. So your electric field and magnetic field are generated by AC power sources, and your signal is generated by your Wi-Fi routers, your mobile phones, and that sort of thing. And then the noise radiation is your unwanted radiation or your byproduct from both of those fields. So those three fields make up your electromagnetic energy field source.
Okay, so it's not actual noise; it's something that you don't hear at all.
You're not hearing it, but it's what's being emitted. It's your megahertz that are all being emitted. There are actually tools that you can use. They've done it in tests and stuff in Hong Kong, where they've gone into those big buildings where they've actually got the barge meters. I can't remember the names of them. The actual meters, where they can actually measure the amount of noise radiation being emitted from phones, from computers. I do have a meter, which I do test. So that's why, to double check that my harmonizer is working, I can put it against it, and the amount of of that byproduct. So like when I turn off my phone I try not to have it in my bedroom, but I have been using it lately as as an alarm clock, which I need to stop again. But when you put it into flight mode, even though you're not receiving data, it's still emitting a form of radiation as well, and they've done testing on that.
So Ash,
go ahead, sir.
I mean, I know that there are devices, like all the electronic devices we use, they already pollute the power socket, right? So with radiation, so it can cross over to other devices too, but it's also not the devices, it's to humans, right? And I'm wondering if PWM, if pulse wave modulation is also, like, if that also has an effect like that, in some people that causes the flicker in the lights too. The lights flicker, they're not constantly turned on, right? They just switch off and switch on rapidly. So do you know anything about that, or?
I don't know. I haven't really gone into a lot of that. I've sort of concentrated more on the actual noise radiation, and because I found out that was the more, because I was always worried about 5G and Wi-Fi, and I didn't really worry about everything else. So I've sort of been looking more and more into, and I'm not by no means an expert, I'm still learning, but that's what I've realized. I need to concentrate more on the noise radiation, and that's why, because that's what I found affects me, because the minute I use my harmonizer, you can't get away from it. There are so many things that promise to do all these things. It is there to, you can only harmonize what's going on. So like with the noise radiation, it is running at a lower frequency, so it is being able to be penetrated into your body, because that noise radiation runs between the 30 megahertz to the 300, and that's where your body's running at. I think your heart runs between, your brain's between 72 and 90 megahertz, your heart's between 67 to 70 megahertz. So it's when you then running into the same megahertz resonancy, that's why it's being penetrated. But when you're able to break that chain of the harmonization, it's then not getting penetrated into your body, if that makes sense. So that's all the resonance, the resonance effect that they call it, that where they've done studies on that, with the tuning forks, when you hit those tuning forks and when it's the right frequency, the ball moves.
Yeah, that was my military career, actually, was all of that. Wow. And what people don't really understand is, this is important too. When you get into some of the things in our own house that has the strongest EMFs is a hair dryer, and the other one is the electric blanket. And are phone chargers. They're one of the worst culprits out there. And people don't even, what do you mean my hair dryer? Your hair dryer is pretty bad. Get rid of it.
Do you mean when it's being used, or do you mean when it's just plugged in?
When it's being used, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So if
Not the noise, the
Yeah.
EMFs that are coming from it, yeah.
Okay. So, but if it was plugged in and not turned on, then it's okay.
Well, yeah, normally, like Ash said, we can do a whole other podcast on this, because you got what you call brown power, and you've got phantom power, and there's so much more that's involved that still emits EMFs. So it's very, very powerful of the EMFs we're getting every single day in our body.
And also, if you have something plugged in, right, it can still generate EMFs. Let's say you close your PC, it's already taking idle power from the power socket, because I mean, devices work like this, right? So you can't rely on it not producing those if they're plugged in. Like, the most surefire way is to plug it out.
Unplug.
Because it won't have electricity.
Well, another thing too is they have power bars that will actually just emit that. It'll actually stop it. So when your stuff is shut down, it's shut down. There's so many different devices out there as well that can help. And like Ash we'll have a link for the harmonizer. And one that I use throughout the house is the Aries. I really like the Aries. And we'll have links to all that too if anybody's interested.
Yeah, I use this one that goes with me everywhere in the car.
Yeah.
Just all that does is it changes the frequency, because I've noticed the difference from driving. I used to have an RMAX, a Hyundai RMAX, and it didn't have a lot of any of the fancy stuff. I called it a car that actually you could drive, even though it wasn't automatic. It didn't, I had to manually stay in the lane and, use the turn on the windscreen wipers and all that. So it's like a joke I have. It was like my mama's taxi sort of thing. And even though you were getting, when I tested it with my with my radiation detector, there was stuff coming off it. But since I've got the new car, it has got full of gadgets. It's, it almost drives by itself. It tells you when you're going, when you need a coffee break and all this. It freaks me out. But the amount that I haven't even gone to test that yet, I'm too scared, because I know it's going to be a lot more. It's just, and if you think you're sitting in that car, like I'm sitting in that car 45 minutes one way, and you think of all these like business people who are on the road, everything, you're getting bombarded, all of that in your car before you even get out and even face the world, or going to offices and things like that as well. So it's around us wherever we go. We can't get away from it, but that's why I can only harmonize the area around me, where it breaks that change so it doesn't get absorbed into my body.
Yeah.
Is that a Tesla?
No, I don't have a Tesla. No, mine's just a normal diesel car. So.
Okay, I see.
No, I'm not game to get any of those.
Yeah, there's some weird things with Teslas,
I have taken the meter near Tesla, and it has gone. It's not even on; it's parked off, and it's still like when I put it next to it, it was just the meter was going off its rocker. So I was like, no.
Wow.
Yeah. I have devices that I have in specific plugins just to block the phantom power. And what it does is when I plug other stuff into it is when stuff shut down. And I think I first learned about that through Dave Asprey. And who was the other one? Dr. Ben Lynch. His house is completely redesigned to minimize. He still gets EMF, he still gets toxins, but to minimize it. And, people don't have to go off the rails and say, oh my gosh, I'm going to go buy this, that, or whatever. There are things that you can do, and that's what we're going to talk about, like Ash with the household toxins.
So with the harmonizer that you have, if you have one at home, do you have to put it in certain places, or do you carry it around with you? Or
the one that I've got, it covers, and I have it in the area where we use all of our electronics and stuff. So we try not to use them in bedrooms, but it does have an 8-meter diameter, so it's 8 meters, so, and it goes into a sphere. Yeah. So if you're on a double story, it does. So if you've got quite a big house, they do normally recommend 2, but it's. I have it in the main area where all of our stuff is, and then where we're all working. And then when I go in the car, I normally, and I just, because I can put it onto a battery pack as well, and I just stick it in my handbag, and I go to the coffee shop with it, and it's in my bag, because I can definitely feel the difference from going from the RMAX to this car. I didn't use it for the first week, and I was just getting such headaches afterwards. I could actually, I don't know how to describe my skin. My skin starts to feel like it's crawling. It's like this constant numbing sensation where it's pins and needles, but not pins and needles. And so it's in this area here where I had radiation.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not something that I enjoy. So it's when I do find that gets really sensitive when I'm around too much, and that's why I do limit the amount of things that I like as near and wear and all of that as well. I won't sleep with my watch, with my I've got an Apple Watch. I won't sleep with it. Take it off. All those sort of things. Anything that's Wi-Fi, because it does create that whole chain reaction where your blood goes sticky as well, where it sticks together, where it's not free flowing. They've done tests on that as well, where there's actually a doctor in Canada who's done it. She does like my boss does the lavender blood analysis, and they've actually done it where you've just been working on your computer and they've tested your blood and they've seen how your blood is all sticking together where it's not free flowing, and then they've put on the radiation detector and harmonizer, and within half an hour your blood's free flowing again. It's just that whole yeah.
So what do you think about
Your
an
body
aura ring?
absorbs it all. Pardon?
An aura ring, would that be the same?
Yeah.
Or anything that's got Wi-Fi to them, those earbuds are the worst. And you just think
Well,
those
Bluetooth.
Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi earbuds, you're sticking those in. And I hate it when the kids wear them, but at least when they're at home, I feel they're a bit more protected with this. But if you think, you almost find your brain, because that's going through that signal with your, when you've got your earbuds in, and try not to encourage them to use those.
Well, my headphones are, completely analog. I don't have that, Wi-Fi or anything specifically, because I don't like it. It sounds worse. Plus, it also makes me feel a bit worse too in that regard, because when I used to wear those headphones, it did cause me some fatigue, and I don't think it's just the materials that I used. I mean, these are very comfortable, but I don't get fatigued with them. And yeah.
So I don't know if you want to move on to household toxins.
Well, before we do, welcome, Cindy. And before we started, we did an intro again and told everybody where we were. So if you'd like to do that, go ahead. We'd love to know where you are.
You're a little bit muffled. I don't know if it's me, but it probably is. I mean, right now I have an airplane going overhead, and I'm in Miami. Do you see the palm trees? Yeah, there's a palm tree right there. And this place is wild. I haven't been to Miami in probably, I don't know, 25 years or something, and it looks way different. But I'm getting ready to go on this amazing cruise with some amazing teachers. So I'm kind of stoked right now. I don't know if anybody still uses that word, but I'm using it right now because that's how I feel. Anyway, I had to interject because Ashley, you mentioned like sensations that you feel on your skin from things, and there was a while. Well, I always wear, to work. I'm always having to wear like yoga pants and stuff, and I have this pocket in my right side of my pants, and it's where I always put my phone. And a number of years ago now, I started getting this weird numbness on my right thigh, my right lateral thigh. And it was just, it started to be constant, like even when I didn't have the phone there. So I started getting wigged out about all this radiation stuff, and I started searching, and I found a company called Bodywell, and compared to, Aries was the other company, and then I got these little protectors like on the back of your phone. So it's the little thing you stick on there. And I don't know, we'll see if this is, for real or not. And I started, the very first day I put it on there, I could tell the difference. I still had that numbing, buzzy feeling in my leg for quite a while. But I don't know, it was even not that long ago I realized it, because you forget about stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have that anymore at all. Like, it took months, and I've had these for probably a couple of years now. And I have one for my computer, and they don't have anything for I haven't looked in a while. I probably need to look at the whole earbud thing, because I wear earbuds a lot. But what a difference to not feel that numbing sort of buzzing sensation in my thigh. I mean, wild, And so the cruise is leaving this morning, so I'll be on and off here. I'm gonna stay on. I need to run into a store and grab something, but I did want to say this also is, as I'm listening to you, like, what an incredible time we are in. I know there's so much fear that can be generated around this topic. And I kind of want to calm that a little bit because, you know, even to encourage, especially the young people, Hugo, like yourself, you know, this is such an incredible time for people to create. And so what I like to do is imagine in my mind, there are incredible products like this body well device, like the ones you're talking about, that people can, you know, open their mind to discovering and creating so that we can continue to use these devices that do a lot of good in our lives. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. And I think it's really important to not go into this fear mode, because we know what happens biologically, energetically, you know, emotionally, mentally, all of that. If we allow ourselves to go down this, oh no, everything is screwed up, we are all heading, you know, 100 miles an hour into a brick wall. Like, we've got to not go there, and we have to visualize a world where we can live in harmony with these things, and that our bodies can manage these toxins, including what got us all together in the first place was managing what we put into our body and what we do have choices on. So, you know, always coming back to, yes, there's always a choice, and we can always pick a better one. It might not be as pure as living out on an island somewhere with nothing bombarding us. Like, that's gone anyway. Like, our whole world is getting bombarded. But, you know, no, I don't want to live like that. Like, I want to enjoy some of these things that do have toxins. So I need to optimize and kind of eliminate my exposure as much as possible. And that was several years ago. I think it was back in 2015. There was a book called Elimination Diet by Tom Malter. And there are some things, of course, now, like what I know about nutrition, I don't follow a lot of that, but the whole premise is the same, that these toxins can create disease. And he was talking about this young man who had horrible autoimmune issues from the carpeting that they put in his apartment, right? And he didn't have control over that. So he was a mess from this carpet. And what I took away from that book was just learn to eliminate your exposure as much as possible, reduce your exposure. And so think about it in a positive way instead of hanging on to the negative, fearful way. Does that make sense? And I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
You know, that definitely makes sense. And I am very much like that. And that's why I have found this one that I have in order for my kids to be able to use the things that they do. And I feel safer with them using it. You went on when I said the reason why I get that in my head is I had skin cancer. So I underwent radiation for 6 weeks to my head every single day. So that's why I still have the side effects when I am around electronics. I have that buzzing and it's too much. And that's why I did find a product that then helps. It's just giving that light where I now can continue to use these things, but I still choose the times and places when I am going to use them.
Yeah. And we pointed out at the beginning too, Cindy, and thank you for bringing it up again. This is not about fear mongering at all. It's about awareness and doing the best that we can. It's not about, oh no, you got to eliminate anything. There are things that you can do today that can help you minimize the effects of toxic stuff in our environment, in our homes, and everything. So
right, and I also want to point out just the collective thought, like if all of us can start just visualizing a world where people are coming up with new and improved products and ways for ourselves to reverse the effects of these things and to manage that in our body, that's helpful too. So yeah,
I can tell what cruise you're going on just the way you're talking.
Yes, ma'am. It's already started.
We will have a whole podcast on that too, because that is very powerful as well. So that will be coming in the near future for sure. For sure.
I'm still here, but I'm going to go off camera. So thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, I think what Cindy.
Hugo had a question.
Yeah. I think what Cindy said was quite true. You know, it's about encouragement. You know, it's not about fear.
Exactly.
I mean, I feel encouraged, you know, learning about these things and what I can do to actually improve my health. It's, I don't feel afraid in that regard. And also, I think what Cindy said, like the diet is what loads the gun essentially, and environment nudges where the bullet lands, right? So, you know, it is important, all the things what you do. It's not just one aspect. So if your environment is completely, you know, counter to what is healthy, then, you know, the perfect diet won't solve that either. So
yeah,
it's all about having the
exactly.
balance, right?
Yeah, I agree. And we don't live in, sorry, I was going to say, we don't live in a perfect world. We're never going to escape electromagnetic radiation, all of it. We're never going to escape microplastics. We're never going to, escape all these things. But if you can just make minor changes to it and continue to live your life, in a way that you can, just getting in products in to make those small changes, that's what helps, because it isn't everything. You no matter how much you want it not to be, we don't live in that perfect sterile world. We live in a world where new advances, new things that are coming out all the time, and we can only do the best we can to minimize what we're doing.
Exactly. And awareness. It's all about awareness. And when you bring it to the forefront, then people can make their own choices. It doesn't mean, again, not fear mongering or anything. It's just there are little things that you can do, and like, changing things that you do your laundry with or whatever. And we're going to get into that. And that's all this is about. The rest of this whole podcast is just bringing little hacks that you can do, little things that you can do to help you along the way. And you can take a look at your environment and say, hey, what can I do? And that's what it's all about.
Do you think that there is more that manufacturers can do to prevent so many
100%
EMFs coming up? Like, it shouldn't have to always be on us, right? We should be able to set a standard where if something is emitting something, they also put in the protective shield to it, so it's not emitting as much or not emitting at all or whatever it might be, while still functioning as whatever it needs to do. So is that something that we agree on, or what do we think about that?
Absolutely. Actually, you know what, Olivia, one of the problems with it, I don't know how many books I've written or whatever, but is a lot of these companies, they have no desire to change anything because they just pay the fines. And they are fined constantly, but the fine is part of doing business. And that's what the bottom line is. So it's like here, like acid rain and all that stuff. They don't care. They'll pay $100,000, pay the fine, and they don't change a darn thing. That's the problem. Yeah.
But also, EMFs, they put on warnings. They put on warning labels.
Yep.
If you go into your phone, your Apple phone, your Samsung, there's a warning in there saying that they do emit and that they could cause all these diseases, your tumors and everything, and they suggest that you use it with a wired headphones, not the Wi-Fi. So they do put warnings in there. If you read the fine print, they're all in there, so that they're covering themselves.
Too
like cigarettes, right? They did on cigarettes. Cigarettes wasn't about to, like smoking, they weren't about to change their formula that they had, but they started putting warning on the packages.
Hey, you're back.
Yeah, well, I was actually coming at it from a point of view, because I used to work for 7 years looking after the smart meter rollout in the UK, and one of the biggest challenges that were put to the program all the time was that that smart meters are emitting EMFs, and people didn't want to have a smart meter in their home, and we used to do a lot of research to prove that it was actually fine, but of course we were the ones who were rolling it out. So if it's just as simple as being able to change the design of the product, we should be really pushing people to do that, because you can't necessarily not roll out smart meters and not have a digital energy system, but you can make it less harmful for people. And then
we have to realize that there's trade-offs. It's not a perfect world. There are consequences to what we want. If we want maximum safety, there's consequences in what is possible too. So if we start limiting materials, maybe transmission, reducing the EMFs from smartphones, we might also be impacting how fast data travels, because you're just using less of that signal, less of that intensity too. So I'm sure it can be made better, but it's just that this is quite a nuanced topic. It's like if we're reducing EMF exposure from phones, we might also impact how well they work because of that. But I think that there maybe is a good middle ground how to minimize that, targeting signals instead of just blasting it everywhere. So that in of itself, if you're targeting signals, instead of just blasting it to the user using it, you can send it directly to that router or other device. That those solutions already are being worked on. Like I think Wi-Fi 7 probably is big in that regard. But
like even with my harmonizer that I've got now, it only goes up to 1 gigahertz because that one that that you're trying to harmonize is that lower frequency. Because they can't go over that 1 gig of blocking it, because then if you would, you'd be able to then go and block your neighbor's signal and do, as Hugo was saying, you'd be able to, I'm having a fight with my neighbor, I'm going to go block his signal. So by law, they're not allowed to go over that 1 gigahertz or gigabytes or whatever, gigabyte, because that then is what will, it then goes into warfare sort of terminology of what you could do. But what the damaging one is the lower frequencies that are which can then harmonize into our bodies.
Yeah, and you have Wi-Fi has.
There's radiation. I mean, it's like when you talk about frequencies and stuff, that's a whole other thing as well. Sorry, Hugo, go ahead.
Yeah, and the Wi-Fi has different frequency bands too, like depending on the version, like 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz is the newest one. They can transmit more data, but they have less of a range too. So there's a different biologic effect to, that too. So, I think it's about finding the best solution, and I think manufacturers can do a much better job. Most people don't know that smartphones, if they start losing signal, they're wrapping up their amplifier. It can be many times more powerful, the EMF exposure, because you're losing signal. So if you have bad data transmission, like mobile data, or the signal tower connection is not that good, it can ramp up that amplifier, and it can be even worse in that regard. So it's good to be aware of that, especially if you're starting to, putting devices on. You have to realize that certain devices can have some weird behaviors, like smartphones, that they can actually boost that signal. So it's good to be aware of that.
Yeah, but we all want our handheld computers.
We move on to household toxins.
Yeah, let's go. We could spend like hours on this topic.
That's why I said it's that one. Probably we can go dive into that and do a whole episode on that one, because there's a lot to go into that. With household toxins, it's in everything that we've got. If you're looking at your cleaning products, your air fresheners, your candles, there's so many VOCs, phthalates, all those sort of things, and the amount of ingredients in that, as well as then we start looking at your plastics, which have got your BPA. All those food containers, which are going to be, some of that leaches into your foods, especially when you heat them in a microwave. You're getting all these toxins in, for everything, for furnitures, all these things that, you get. Often when we buy furniture, we're getting them Scotch guarded, we're getting all these different things in them as well. And tap water. So again, you mentioned earlier on about the chlorine, the microplastics. These are all things that I found in our house. I made the switch a long time ago. I clean my house with water, and from my ionizer, I've got my 2.5, which is like a disinfectant, which they use in hospitals in Japan. And I've got my 11.5, which is like a degreaser. So that's what I use to clean my ovens and stoves. I think Kim, you use the Co products. So just trying to minimize those things, especially when we've got animals and pets in the houses. Sort of the ones that if I can't eat or drink it, I'm very careful as to what I do have in my house. I've switched candles. I've gone to essential oils, the Young Living essential oils. But those things are all have an effect on us, especially the candles with those, all the different scents and things as well. So those are all little things that you can start changing out. Is my house totally toxic free? No. I still use a few things, but I am very selective in the things that I do use, especially being out on property. We do have a lot of animals. Our water does go. We have rainwater, so we have rainwater tanks, and all of our water goes as grey water onto our property. So I'm very conscious in the products that I use. So I'll just hand it over to you guys just to see how you are slowly changing things, because I know we're all learning about this as well. So some of us have started changing things. And I've been doing this for a few years, so I have tried many different things over the years, and I'm at a place where I'm happy with what I'm using at the moment, which is just water and essential oils.
Yeah, me too. I even backed off on essential oils because I think to a certain degree the jury's still out on some. And also I have pets, so not all essential oils are healthy for pets either. And I use Norwex.
Some are very toxic.
Yeah, some are very toxic, exactly. And I use a Norwex product, not that I'm pushing it. I just really like it. I've tried others. I like Norwex. I've seen, demonstrations, and even myself, I find water and the cloth works very well. As far as what we're talking EMFs or whatever, I got stuff all over the house. And I still know it's there, but I feel better that I'm doing my part as much as I can, within my budget, that I can look after that too. And even laundry and stuff. If I burn a candle, it is beeswax. That's what I burn. And that's the only one I burn. And it has 0 scents in it, but it's got a very sweet, beautiful smell. And if I burn candles, that's what I burn. So, and so much more that I'm not going to go on with. But yeah, there's many, many things. My laundry, baking soda, vinegar, perfect. That's my input. Hugo?
I mean, I have lots of things that I've done, of course, too. I think I started off with cooking vessels, or food storage, because that's the most important. That's one of the more important aspects where you can make change. I think water, how you're getting that water and holding that too, is very important. But food storage and cooking, I think that's what most people can get done, and that's gonna have a huge impact. Because remember, like, when you buy these products that have these forever chemicals or toxins, you are making a choice. You are voting for those companies. You are, enabling them, even if you don't want that. You are doing that because money dictates, the economy and what gets done. So if you can opt for like cast iron, stainless steel, that's better. That's what I have at home. I don't use anything else, and I use them preferentially, like when depends on what I'm cooking. But for storage, I'm using glass mainly. I think stainless steel would be excellent too. Like, maybe not acidic stuff in there, but glass is, I think, king. And you can get nice glass vessels, from Amazon. Like the Pyrex is one of the most known companies. They have basically fully glass containers. Only silicone, which isn't actually that bad, it seems. And silicone is just in the interface, and just fully glass, and you don't have to worry about being or getting toxins or endocrine disruptors via plastics or any of that, and for laundry too, I've switched from just cleaning products that only have the active ingredients that are actually useful. It's not toxic, there's no perfumes, no fragrances, no brighteners, nothing in there except for the active ingredient, and it has no smell too, of course, which I like. It's just lacks a smell, and I think that's the best thing. It just smells fresh, and I've switched over to that as well. But there are improvements I could still make, and
so can we all,
some things
for sure.
I can't control, because of the building, like all the synthetic materials used elsewhere. I can't really control that. But the stuff I buy usually is it doesn't leach toxic chemicals in the air. It doesn't off gas. I prefer wood, steel. I do buy aluminium stuff too, and it's fine because I'm not ingesting it, and it's minimal contact. Plus, it's very unlikely to leach as well, depending on how it's made and treated as well. And that's basically.
And some people know. Actually, a lot of people know this fact too. Like people that use Teflon pans and stuff like that. People that have birds like budgies and parrots and all that kind of stuff will not use Teflon because it will kill them.
Yeah, that surprised me.
That's very highly documented. That's how much
their
those
capacity tolerance is so low. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, and they use them in mines too. They use birds in mines just for that reason, like what's happening.
But if they're dying, what is it doing to us? I can see how
exactly.
It's good. It is a chemical that is not naturally occurring.
No,
it's human made.
Yep.
And I think that sends alarm bells off. So that's why I completely avoid PFAs if I can. And with clothing, you have to be careful too. There's a lot of clothing that has wick-like capabilities, or there's language you can tell by which
tough one.
Chemicals they use, because if it's anti-wrinkle effect on shirts, that concerns me too. Like what is that chemical causing that? So there's a a list of things to watch it.
Chemical.
And it's not easy.
Chemical.
But there are things you can look out for with clothing. It's organic cotton is pretty good. Ecotex labeling too. They don't just apply it to cotton, it's for other products. So Ecotex is, at least they test the chemicals, the various chemicals, and there are different levels of Ecotex. So, you can look for those certificates and just to get that confirmation that it's actually not bad for you. But it is not easy to get started. But once you know what to look out for, like I said, then it just becomes an everyday thing, and it should become automatic at some point too, because it is for me.
Yep. You made a lot of changes too, Olivia.
Yeah, I mean, none that are any different to what you guys have done. But yeah, water filter was one. We don't use candles anyway. All our cleaning is with vinegar, but and our washing is with bicarbonate soda. But there's still so many things I want to look into. Like, I don't know, when you're washing clothes and you use baking soda or bicarbonate soda, do you guys not use softener? Because I still have a softener, which isn't a commercial one. And have you
Vinegar.
Vinegar is a softener.
Yeah.
So I use vinegar as a softener.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll try that. And what is it? The clothes, do they smell like vinegar?
Nope.
No. Okay, good. I'll do that.
I use white vinegar, not brown.
Yes, I use white vinegar for everything. But I hadn't thought about clothes, so that's good. So I'm trying to figure out what to do for softener. Dishwasher, we've got these kind of sheets that are apparently good. I don't know how good they are, but they're supposed to be better than a normal, like an eco-friendly one. I haven't figured out, I don't know what you call it, fairy liquid, to wash your dishes. Like something that really cuts the grease.
Dishwasher.
Is that...
Yeah.
Not,
I mean,
not a dishwasher, but an actual.
I do have a clean one.
Yeah.
It's just active ingredient, but you have to use more of it, which is fine for me. It depends how concentrated it is.
And does it cut grease and clean it?
Yeah. If you put enough, I have to put more than fairy.
Yeah.
But fairy is more concentrated. That's why it works.
So is fairy actually bad? Do we know that, or is it just?
I wouldn't recommend it. There's limonellol or some kinds of chemicals that are actually not that good, and it seems that they might be irritating. At least I feel some irritation when using them. That's why I switched over.
I mean, especially when you're carnivore, you've got a lot of grease, right? So fairy is very good.
I know, but I usually use paper. just getting rid of that grease. First.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to dump that into your
water, which is like a degreaser, so it actually emulsifies the oil. When I spray that on, so I spray that water on, and then it just actually separates. So they say oil and water doesn't mix. Well, this does. It actually emulsifies it, that you can then just take and wipe, and it's just all gone and clean. So it's like a degreaser. That's what I use to get all the oil out of my clothes as well. I spray that on straight away.
Maybe we're just explaining what that is, Ash, because I think myself and Kim, you've got a filter as well, haven't you? Which is a fantastic filter that really gets rid of most. We can, link it. But Ash has got an even more super duper system. Maybe you can explain that, Ash. I'm not sure.
I've got a water ionizer that produces all different levels of water. So it's the drinking water, and then it does your highly acidic water, which is what you're using for hand sanitizer, and everything. But it also then is very highly alkaline water, which is your 11.5. and then it acts like it's a degreaser, so it actually emulsifies. It breaks down the oil. So that's what I wash the kids' fruit and vegetables in as well, because it breaks down all the oil pesticides off the fruit and vegetables. And it's once you've seen it once and you see the stuff that comes off, you can never go back to just washing in vinegar and bicarb, because that's what I used to use for their tomatoes and things. So it breaks it down and it emulsifies, basically. That's what it's doing. I still do use a bit of I've got one called Earth, so it is a one that's environmentally friendly to wash dishes a bit as well. I use that too. Just to help with the stubborn stuff. But cleaning the stove wise, I use a lot of that. But to break down the first lot of grease, I use that. Also, every now and again, we'll chuck a whole lot of that into the dishwasher, because I do find the dishwasher gets very greasy, like you're saying, we're just cooking with so much tallow and stuff.
Yeah, and I recommend looking into how soap works, because that's fascinating too. That's how it forms micelles around the molecule you're trying to capture, and that's how these products work. And boil soap can be a good option too, if you can find it.
Yeah, there's a lot of the soaps that you can use, as long as you're looking for enzyme based, then you do pretty good. Like we got Mrs. Myers here. There's Enjo, ENJO, which is in Austria. Norwex, it's worldwide. And like Ash used too. I've used them all. Earth. I like Earth. I don't like it for washing dishes. And I don't like Norwex in my dishwasher. I don't feel it does a good enough job. But as far as breaking down stuff, enzymes, probably the safest way you can go. Just finding a product that is enzyme based is probably a good way to go. Or, like Ashley said too, I've never tried. Ashley, this is really interesting, because Ash and I, we talk every day, and her girls were not feeling well. And this was so interesting to me that she gave her girls 2.5, right? Ash? And they were feeling better within an hour, 1 hour. That's crazy. And that's with the hydronized water and stuff. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Living testimony right there.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Is it going to help everybody? I don't know. It just helps my girls. So I'm not going to, it's not a medical claim or anything like that.
Doesn't have to.
It helps my girls.
Is there any way to get your water ionized without the whole system? Are there shortcut ways to do it?
Well, to create the 2.5 and 11.5, you could probably use the 2.5 is called hydrochlorous acid. I think it's, I get the names mixed up, but that's I don't know another way. I know that's using a salt solution to do that, but it's also through electrolysis as well. So, and that's what, the ionization is what's making the different levels of water that you're drinking.
And we'll have a link to Ash to what you use and what your is, and if people have more questions, they're welcome to ask you, or even look into your water systems and stuff as well. Because I'm a believer, 100%. I've had
quite a nerdy water system,
right?
Different levels of water.
Interesting. Yep. So
the other thing is that when you're cooking, everyone has plastic ladle. Well, it's very common to have plastic ladles. And so we've been trying to get rid of them, because I think people just don't think about it. They think even if I've got a stainless steel pan, they don't necessarily think, I need to change my ladles. So I don't know if everyone else has done that. Maybe it's such an obvious one.
I have a stainless steel one. It's really nice.
Yeah.
But I've got wooden ones.
Yeah, me too. All wood.
Really nice.
Wood or stainless.
It's easy to find stainless steel or wood,
Yeah, that's what we have as well. And water drinking bottles, like that one, we've moved all to glass. But it's harder with kids when they're taking water bottles to school to take glass. So we've got stainless steel for that. But yeah, we're just trying to get all of the crappy plastic out, basically.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of changing all my Tupperware over to the stainless steel, so that they can also take that to school. And stainless steel bottles, because like you said, to take glass, I think Tamsin took glass once and she dropped it. So yeah, we're very conscious of that.
That's the downside.
So at home we use glass, but when we go out we use stainless steel.
Well, you can get
Maybe.
bento. Is it called bento boxes on Amazon, which are stainless steel, and they're the ones that they're fantastic. I know lots of people that have bento boxes, and they do.
Yeah, just
and
be
they
mindful of putting acidic food. You know, that's it. You know, I think anything else is completely fine with stainless steel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So slowly replacing everything.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys, and maybe you've talked about this already, so I apologize. But what do you think of silicone? Like, there are these bags that have like zipper tops that you are designed to help you get away from plastic. But what about silicone?
I use a lot of silicone for my sous videing. Quality matters. That's all I'm gonna say.
And with silicone, most of it is not actually pure silicone. It's siloxanes. There's a plastic chemical added to the silicone to make it more flexible. You know, improve properties. So it's it's another rabbit hole. You have to be mindful of that. I think you can get silicone that's probably fine. You know, there's ways to tell if it's safer or not. You know, so I think in general it's probably better than plastic, but you know, it's a case by case basis. I don't think we can generalize, but I do like the idea.
Silicone doesn't leach, right?
Yeah, I do like the idea, especially for vacuum bags. You know, I think that's an untapped market. You know.
Yeah.
There's
lots.
it would be a good option if it's safe. Actually, you know, then you don't have food exposure, for example, with meat or you know, any kind of other food.
Yeah, the first thing you do is BPA free. That's the number one thing you want to look for. And, you know, answer to your question, Olivia, it's hard to say, right? I mean, maybe they do leach. We really don't know. It's just all of us are learning too. You know, this is just things that we experimented with and what we read about. I would imagine some of the lower quality might. I don't know. I don't think there's any definitive answer on anything that we're talking about.
No, I mean, in theory, they're supposed to not leach, but in practice, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So
we should pressure the companies.
Well,
I mean, that is true. You know, if there's a drive,
that's what we're here for.
If you're voting with your wallet, they will listen. You know, they will do those tests. You know, it's not you can enact change. So.
Well, I mean, it all comes down to the consumer, right? You are, like you said, like it's so this is so important where you said this, Hugo, is who we're enabling, right? And I mean, it's on the food industry, it's on all of them. You know, if we continue to buy their stuff, why would they stop? Why would they want to change? Because it's like gas prices here that we have, which are crazy. People still need to buy gas because they still need to get to work. They still need to take their children to school. They still need to do this and they still need to do that. And, you know, what is the alternative? So we take a strike for 1 week so they smarten up. You know, like it's...
Not even a week. 1 day is enough.
Well, but again,
even a single day, if you change your buying habits radically, that's going to have...
I agree.
I know.
I
know, but it's
lots of people won't do it.
Money is God to them, right? You know, it's the pinnacle of everything. So that's why if you change money coming in, it's gonna change them automatically.
You know, we could maybe form a walk or something like Olivia in the UK did. 3 million different people. We could maybe do that. It might take a while. But that's why we're talking about all this. It's all about awareness. And it's like, if you're sitting there and you're taking your finger and you're just twirling your hair, you are not aware of what you're doing. You're just doing it. But as soon as somebody points that out, you're now aware. And every time you take your finger to twirl your hair, you're like, oh yeah. All about awareness. And that's what we're doing here, is bringing awareness. Hi, Cindy. Are you leaving us?
Hey. Well, I just have a statement, and then I probably do need to go. But, okay, I have to say it. I hope you guys can hear me. There's so much noise here. But, yes, the whole awareness thing. John Barnes, without awareness, there is no choice. And I think that's the biggest thing. But secondly, I want to tell you guys what happened yesterday. So I don't know if you can see, like, there's apartment buildings in the background, and there's apartments here. I mean, just I can't believe the number of people that are packed in here. if I open my phone and I look at the Wi-Fi and the options of what I have to choose from, oh my God, like it's just, I scrolled and I scrolled. I did 3 swipes of scrolling and there were still options. And that freaks me out. Like I was like, oh my God. And so, people who are sensitive to feeling these waves, like it's hard to explain, but yeah, it's definitely a different feel. I think it's important too to have like breaks, fasting from all this stuff. Like I think in the future, what you'll see are more getaways where people are disconnecting and creating an environment that is really amazing, right? And maybe it's only for a day at a time or a few days or whatever, where you can escape from like all of that, all those Wi-Fi options, all of those toxic things that are out there. And just the sky's the limit with our imagination of what we can create to have time where we can heal, because our body wants to heal. And if we give it what it needs, it will, as we know. So on that note, I am signing off from Miami, I believe, and looking forward to sharing some cool stuff in a week or two. So thanks you guys for dealing with
have a
my
nice
on and
cruise.
off here. Bye.
Yeah, that I like that. Without awareness, there is no change, and you always say, or there is no choice. And it's so powerful. Just those 5 words, so powerful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that is true.
we could be here all day. Let's move on to work in commercial buildings and vehicle transportation. Sort of do a quick. I'll leave that up to you, Hugo, and so we're not here till 3 o'clock in the morning for Ash.
No. Well, this has been one of my interests too. When looking into household toxins, how are we actually, what environments are we living in, how it's affecting us. And, with work in commercial buildings, a lot of us work, most of us are inside most of the day. So we have a lot of exposure to these kinds of things. So it's important to realize that might be a major factor in how we feel and function. And, there's a lot of issues can stem from the HVAC systems, the heat, ventilation, and air conditioning systems used in different types of buildings. And usually the air isn't taken fresh from outside. It's actually, that's where it's ventilated out, but it's a lot of that air is actually recycled, is cleaned instead of getting fresh air, which is a major impact, because if you have VOCs, you have chemicals in the air, you can re-ingest them. And there's no guarantee that the filters will pick them up. The filters aren't even that sensitive to those, and they're not engineered to be at that level. So it is a massive concern. And with poor ventilation, and if it's humid, there can be a risk of mold as well. So mold needs to be looked out for too, because that can contribute to immune dysregulation and dampening, because this is something that's been talked about, and Jordan Peterson especially has brought it to light, that this, I can't remember the syndrome name, but I know it's real, and mold exposure is what causes it. And even if your diet is clean, like you're eating well, doing lifestyle habits that are actually beneficial, having that condition or in that environment, you can still be harmed quite a bit and have severe symptoms like Jordan Peterson did. But yeah, so it's good to look out for that, not just in work and commercial buildings, but at your home too. Mold is a concern, and there's ways to mitigate that too. And the different types of materials used and furniture in buildings is also a concern. Think of synthetic carpets. Those are usually, offices are lined with that. The floors are completely made of synthetic carpeting, and it's not just the particles or the gases that exude from that. It can just be an issue in of itself, because there's bacteria growth, that they don't clean it often enough too, and there's a lot of stuff that can be present there, and the whole thing just for comfort, right? What's the point of the carpet? Just provide comfort, but there's a downside to it, as with many things that industry creates, that and our economy allows. Comfort isn't always the best option, and they use formaldehyde in the glues, vinyl flooring, all of that. That also contributes to toxicity. And it's not that manufacturers necessarily I think are out to poison us. It's because they've solved real problems with modern chemistry, but they've neglected the biological aspect. That's been under the radar. So and I think that's why we don't have as many safe environments too. So there's just endless things in those types of buildings and construction that can actually be toxic. Even your furniture, the furniture used in the office, like that can in and of itself poison you if you even touch it. So, and when you think about like there's this phenomenon of having a new office smell or new device smell, that's usually not a good sign.
No.
It's it's a signal that there are some volatile compounds that are being released off gassing that you should actually be aware of. And maybe there's ways to mitigate that. Maybe you can just get fresh air in. That's actually a good idea. If there's an option like opening windows, all of that, getting fresh air in, that helps a lot. You're already clearing most of the issues. But it's when you have the same air recycled and recycled that problem intensifies. And regarding moving on to vehicles and transportation, that's a huge topic I know itself. It's a lot of people have these kinds of what do you call them, like emblems, or where it just
the Christmas tree coming off
the Christmas tree,
so it smells beautiful in the car.
Stick that on top of your
air freshness,
like inside of your car's roof, right? And let that refreshing air, and it lasts for so long. So usually when you're cooking something or when something smells, it's usually short term, it's not long term, it doesn't last for very long. So with these types of air refresheners, you should wonder that what is it made of that it's lasting that long. That should be the first question you have. And it's probably not good for you, I guess. And they are usually made from petrochemicals, and I think that's a big thing to remove from the car. I used to have that kind of thing in my car. I just got rid of it. I don't have that anymore. Now my car doesn't smell, it just smells fresh. And I open the windows too, so opening windows to your car can be a good practice. It depends where you're driving to. Maybe not the best idea if there's a lot of pollution around you. But then again, you need to get air too, right? So you can't, if you're recycling that car's air and it's polluted, you can double the damage. It intensifies that. So it's good to be aware of those things. And the exhaust that is created by cars, that also is toxic in of itself. The PHE, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, those get into the air too. And onto your clothes, onto your skin, and there might be some exposure in that regard, because the skin isn't completely permeable. It doesn't absorb everything, but we don't exactly know how much is absorbed and what chemicals specifically, because this is an understudy field. There's some research on it, but I wouldn't be reliant on that, because the safest thing is actually to avoid these new things that haven't been in our environment. So that's the principle I follow. And I think that's how you can get to a more normal baseline of what our ancestors did, because not all of it is actually bad. A lot of what they did made them healthy, kept them healthy, and made the future possible, which is now, right? So it cannot be true that what they did was inherently toxic. So we have to actually look at the things we have right now, what are natural, what we can prevent, to actually solve this problem. And and that's basically it.
Yep.
The rundown.
Hugo, you mentioned about sorry, I was going to say, just ask a question on furniture which is emitting any of these chemicals. Over time that goes away, right? So is it better to have old furniture, if you know what I mean? And if you were going to be getting new furniture, is it better to get it secondhand?
I think there's a trade-off, because older furniture, older vessels, cooking vessels, all of that, they tended to use more of things that we wouldn't use nowadays, like lead, some heavy metals. And if you know the source, if you know the materials, then I think it can be a better idea, actually. Ideally, we would have a manufacturer test it.
I don't mean like 50 years ago or 20 years ago, even like just secondhand, as opposed to the new version of a sofa or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
it's always better to have a
that's probably the case, but it depends on the chemicals they use. I think maybe VOCs and some volatile compounds for sure, but they put fire retardants and things too, which are lipophilic too, and might absorb through the skin, right? And so ideally, I think it's a better choice in general, but you should rely, maybe get some testing done. Like ideally, the manufacturer would do that, have those tests, the materials, and would be transparent. But that is the issue. A lot of manufacturers aren't transparent, and it's not necessarily malice. Maybe they're ashamed. It's not actually up to those quality standards that a consumer might look out for, and they might hurt their business doing that. But I think in the long run they're actually improving it if they're being transparent. So
I personally, I read about this some time ago, and you're on the right track there, Olivia, for sure. If you can get secondhand, VOCs eventually minimize. There's no proof that they're 100% go away, but when you buy new furniture and you sit on it, it's like sitting. When you have dust in your house and you sit down and you see, if you had a light on you, you'd probably see it just going everywhere. That's one of the things that you can do to help that too, and know what furniture you're getting as well. Like what is the material? Like synthetic leather compared to real leather, big difference. Real leather is so much better for you, and same with the material, like a lot of the material has microplastics in it, so.
Yeah,
I think it's a good reason to buy secondhand. Like I really think it's important to try and buy secondhand when you're trying to buy anything.
I agree.
But just from an environmental point of view and a waste point of view, and obviously it'd be more affordable, and what people always have in their mind, but I need to get a new everything. It's a big market for recycling things like
that. Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, and what's that saying? One man's junk is another person's, or one person's junk is another person's gold, or whatever. It's like, I agree 100%. And I do a lot of secondhand shopping. I also do a lot of firsthand shopping, because I like to try things, and especially if it's if it's new and all this other kind of stuff, it's like it's like an addiction. I swear, it's an addiction. But I buy a lot of secondhand as well, and
secondhand is cheaper.
It is.
You know, it is cheaper.
Yeah.
Why not?
We live in a disposable world.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah. And, you know, I think what we're going to do, because we could go forever, I think we'll stop it here and do a part 2 for our viewers, because there's so much more to discuss. And we haven't even gotten into like solutions and detox strategies that, you know, people can use and stuff like that. So just for last minute words, let's do a quick Q&A, or let's do, if you were to recommend one thing that one person could do today to minimize their exposure, what would it be? I'll start with you, Olivia.
I'll have to say water filter. Like if you haven't got one,
Water filter?
Water is going into your body and there's so much unnecessary toxins in it, and that would be my first thing to recommend to everyone.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Ash, how about yourself? You're probably going to say
I agree with Olivia on the first one, on the water ionizer. Yeah. That's probably the thing I can't live without. I was very conscious about the food I ate, and then the next thing was the water I drank. So those are my two top things. But I think with everything else, it's getting away from the microplastics. So I'd probably say just start slowly. It doesn't need to be overwhelming. Just start doing one thing at a time. So, you know, I'm in the process of, I'm working in the kitchen, so I'm getting rid of Tupperware, replacing with glass and stainless steel.
Starling.
I'd already changed all my pots and pans. Yeah, that's just start somewhere. That's it.
I should be back.
Choose one thing and start slowly.
But maybe...
Go ahead, we'll come back to, yeah.
I would say the number one thing is, for me, would be changing your cooking vessel.
Yeah.
You know, take those Teflon pans and, you know, I would actually throw them away, because I wouldn't even give it to anyone because they're just toxic. You know, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. So, number one thing, I would change that. You're already gonna get a massive health improvement from that at some point, I think. Maybe you don't feel it right now, but your future self's gonna thank you for that.
Yeah. And I you know, I'm in line with everything that all of you said as well. I was going to say utensils. You know, go through them. There's places where, you know, speaking of secondhand, you can get some pretty good cast iron and stainless steel pans at secondhand, very cheap. And yeah, cooking vessels, just start there. Just take a look and see what you're cooking with. And I think that's a good start right there. And that's probably Ashley just messaging saying, I'm logged out. Yeah, her internet went down. So.
To go with water,
Sorry,
also we said about drinking out of glass, so I always drink out of glass, but also straws. If anyone uses straws, I'm obsessed with straws. Make sure they're not plastic, make sure they're stainless steel, or glass. You can get glass ones.
Yeah, and the paper ones, be afraid of them.
Right? It's like, that's what
just
we
in
did
case.
in Canada, got rid of all plastic. Now we have these really crappy paper ones. Yeah.
Yeah, but paper's just coated in plastics. There's no point in bothering.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's
I think
my
I'm
question,
ruining.
Olivia. I have a question for you then. And this is important because I know a lot of people that will not switch out their straws, and the reason why is, how do you clean them?
Oh, you have a straw. You get a straw cleaner when you buy them. Like, it's the exact size to clean the straw.
Alright, but you can get brushes too. You know, different brushes.
Yeah, it is a brush.
Like the little ones. It looks like a Q-tip.
It looks like you know how you would, like a bottle brush that you'd wash a bottle with, you know. Okay. Yeah, so it goes down the straw and cleans it. So yeah, I mean, I just put them in the dishwasher at the moment. And I don't find anything accumulating in them. But you can use the brush as well.
Brush as well. Yeah, right on.
Yeah, but people think they're being really great by using paper straws, and that's just silly.
No.
And when you go out and have a coffee as well, like people opt to have them in a paper cup. That's just plastic again. Like, take your own cup with you, or drink out their china or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better option.
My friend, her mom said, so when there's this whole push about get away from the plastic straws because you're killing the turtles, And her mom says, well, why are people throwing plastic straws in the ocean then? Come on, that's cute. But yeah, I mean, I have stainless steel straws, but I don't usually use a lot of straws. I just, it's not my thing. Not like Olivia.
I use straws because all my drink is carbonated, so I don't know. I've gotten the habit of just in case I want to use a straw.
Carnivore champagne.
I think regarding the water point you made.
You tell me I can't drink carbonated, and I'm leaving. Sorry.
Yeah.
Ash might have something to say about that, but that's okay. I drink
There's
every
my
day
bubbles.
too. I've got, cases and cases for sure. Well, that's great, and let's wrap it up there, and we'll do a part 2. There's so much more coming, and this is we certainly provided a lot of information and even questions. So, at that, I will say goodbye. Have a great afternoon and evening.
Yeah, goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.